It is great to have you back here at Reporting from Ukraine. Just 2 days after giving a disastrous campaign speech, Trump saw a 2 million follower loss. Donald Trump, a candidate for president, has likened illegal settlers to snakes and blamed them for harming the United States. If re-elected to a second 4-year term in office, Trump has pledged to take illegal immigration seriously and find legal migration, rehashing language that was recently criticized for resembling Nazi rhetoric. According to the conservative leader, there is an unprecedented influx of people trying to illegally enter the United States from South America, Africa, and this news will brighten your day, so please watch all the way to the end. Before we move forward, we kindly ask that you spare a few seconds of your time to subscribe to our updates by clicking the button below and enabling the notification bell. At a rally in New Hampshire, Trump told thousands of supporters that they are harming the blood of our country. They are immersing themselves globally. Additionally, our nation sang the lyrics to a song he had recycled in order to draw parallels between foreigners and deadly serpents. If re-elected, Trump would fulfill his campaign pledge to launch the biggest domestic extradition operation in U.S. history and end the invasion of our southern border. In a meeting with the National Pulse, a right-leaning publication that came out in late September, Trump used the same language about harming the blood. It sparked Jonathan Greenblatt, head of the Anti-Defamation League, condemned the language, calling it racist, xenophobic, and repulsive. Yale professor and author of a book on despotism, Jason Stanley warned that Trump's hasty use of that term was harmful. He claimed that Trump's statements were reminiscent of Nazi leader Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf, in which Hitler forbade Jews from tainting German blood. Stanley claims that he is now using this vocabulary repeatedly in assemblies, which is normalizing it, and the behaviors it implies and increases the danger it poses. Immigrant safety in the U.S. is greatly jeopardized by this discussion. Stephen Chang, a spokesman for the Trump campaign in October, denied that the former president's language was offensive, saying that references to it were common in media. Chung sidestepped the question of Trump's remarks and instead brought up the debates surrounding the handling of campus protests by US universities following the 7th October Hamas attack on Israel when asked for comment on Saturday. According to him, the media and academic institutions have provided a safe haven for troubling and potentially harmful anti-Semitic and pro-Hamas rhetoric. A major issue in Trump's campaign for the Republican presidential nomination in 2024 has been border security. He claims he will bring back the strict immigration policies of his administration from 2017-2021, as well as impose new ones that are even stricter. As a probable Democratic Party nominee, Joe Biden has sought to enact more caring and organized immigration policies. However, he has battled with unprecedented levels of intransigence and problems that are perceived as a vulnerability for his re-election campaign. The Democratic nominee for president in 2024, Joe Biden, plans to institute more humane and organized immigration policies. This strategy is completely at odds with Trump's extreme position. But the growing influx of migrants at the border is posing problems for Biden's plan, and Trump is capitalizing on this to attack Biden's administration and bolster his own campaign narrative. Inflammatory language has long been a divisive issue in political discourse, especially when it comes to immigration. Remarks by Trump have stoked this fire, prompting new inquiries into the role of prominent figures in influencing public sentiment and the possible ramifications of their remarks. The complicated issue of immigration is sure to be a talking point for many American voters in the upcoming 2024 presidential campaign. It will be fascinating to observe how the candidates from the two main parties handle this issue. While the precise effect of Trump's statements on public opinion and the political climate is still unclear, it is undeniable that they command a great deal of attention. There is growing uncertainty about Trump's future involvement in NATO and foreign policy, as 4 pending criminal indictments could put him in jail. Donald Trump's hopes of running for president in 2024 have been dampened by these indictments, which cover a variety of alleged offenses. On this matter, what is your opinion? Leave a comment with your thoughts and opinions, and we can have a conversation about it. Even though he is facing legal challenges, Trump is still a major player in the Republican Party and has a say in party strategy and policy. These indictments have serious consequences for Trump's capacity to seek and possibly win public office. If he were to win the Republican nomination and become president, his legal issues would create unprecedented difficulties for his government. Concerns regarding the moral and legal consequences of a sitting president facing criminal charges are also brought up by the indictment. A further level of complexity is added to the already complex political landscape by the intersection of Trump's legal issues with his foreign policy positions, especially regarding NATO. His legal status, changing Republican Party dynamics, and the larger international community could all impact his position on NATO and other foreign policy issues. With the 2024 presidential race quickly approaching, the Republican Party must overcome these obstacles while staying true to its principles and the interests of the American people. Important considerations for the party's approach and chances in the approaching election include its position on NATO foreign policy and its support for Trump in the face of his legal issues. With the Republican Party still reeling from Trump's lasting impact and new voices emerging, the path to the nomination is fraught with uncertainty. Changes in party dynamics and voter sentiment could be revealed in the Iowa caucuses, which are frequently regarded as a bellwether for the remainder of the primary season. Attention will move to South Carolina, Nevada, and New Hampshire as the primary season advances. These states, with their diverse political climates, will be pivotal in deciding the candidate's momentum, particularly for Trump, whose leadership style and legal problems have driven a wedge between party members. Not only will the 2024 election determine whether Trump can weather the political storm, but it will also reveal the fate and character of the Republican Party in the years following Trump's presidency. Choosing between Trump's populist appeal and the potentially new direction offered by other contenders, the party is at a crossroads with diverse candidates like Haley and DeSantis in the race. With legal challenges and shifting Republican sentiments, Trump's political viability will be tested in the primaries as he continues to rally his base with promises of making America great again. Nominations aren't the only thing at stake in the forthcoming primaries and caucuses. They mirror the shifting currents in American politics. By June, all 50 states will have distributed their delegate quotas, and the path to the July National Convention is filled with obstacles. In deciding who will represent the party in the 2024 presidential race, the convention will be crucial, as in light of recent events, how do you see the Republican Party evolving? These cases may or may not go Trump's way, but either way, they could change the political landscape and his campaign in major ways. Whatever the Supreme Court decides, it could have far-reaching consequences for presidential accountability and immunity, affecting not just Trump, but all presidents to come. The Supreme Court faces a difficult situation due to Trump's singular legal circumstance. With a keen eye on the possible political ramifications of their decisions, the justices of the Supreme Court must negotiate intricate constitutional issues. The rule of law and the U.S. government's balance of power could be profoundly affected by a ruling that supports Trump's assertion of immunity. However, a precedent-setting scenario in American history could unfold if a verdict were to be rendered against Trump, leading to criminal proceedings against a former president. Meanwhile, Trump's legal team is trying to postpone the trials so that any possible legal ramifications don't affect the 2024 election. Using this tactic, Trump may be able to run for president without having to deal with legal issues right away. While Trump's campaign would undoubtedly be haunted by these cases, the matter of classified documents further complicates his legal obstacles. This case is unrelated to the election fraud investigation, but it highlights the scope and seriousness of his legal problems. All things considered, these lawsuits put presidential authority and responsibility to the test, and the results may change how Americans view these ideas in the future. Public and political watchers alike are waiting for the Supreme Court to make a decision that might significantly affect the trajectory of democracy in the United States as it deliberates. The decisions will have far-reaching consequences for Trump's political career and will establish legal standards for the treatment of former presidents. On this matter, what is your opinion? We invite you to share your thoughts and opinions in the space provided below. To the arguments, especially those presented by Elena Haba, the lawyer for Trump, were relatively brief. Regardless, they highlighted how intricate and consequential these court battles are. Everyone is wondering how successful Hubbard's defense strategy was in these proceedings, and what it means for Trump's larger legal challenges. Decisions made by the Supreme Court on these matters have the potential to alter the political and legal landscapes. The possibility of a new precedent holding former presidents responsible for their acts, while in office exists in the event that the court rules against Trump regarding the matter of presidential immunity. Possible future legal action against Trump and other presidents could be facilitated by this decision. However, if the court rules in Trump's favor, it could severely restrict federal prosecutions of former presidents, casting doubt on the rule of law and accountability at the nation's highest governmental levels. Regarding the scope and effects of impeachment on sitting presidents, the double jeopardy clause is an important consideration. Another layer of complexity to Trump's situation is added by his legal troubles in Georgia and New York on top of the federal. Further complicating Trump's legal and political landscape are these state-level cases, which are independent of the federal judiciary. They could proceed regardless of the Supreme Court's rulings. Additionally noteworthy is the apparent urgency with which these matters are being addressed by the Supreme Court. The court's quick action betrays its knowledge of the substantial public interest and possible influence of these cases, given its normally measured pace. Given the singularity of the case and the enormous public interest at stake, the legal process is proceeding at a breakneck pace. As these lawsuits progress, they will affect not just Trump's future, but also American democracy's power balance, presidential accountability, and the larger concepts of justice. Indeed, these cases have the potential to change the course of American politics and establish new norms for the way the president should behave and who is legally liable for his actions. Meanwhile, feel free to leave your thoughts in the space provided. A thumbs up would be great if you thought this video was informative.